this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning and welcome to a live edition on Black Friday. It's PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We got JC. He'll be joining us here momentarily. Hoping to have Chris Harry live from New York. He must be still asleep. We're supposed to get him on, so we'll see if that works out or not. But if you missed it yesterday, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Cowboys beat another bad football team. They're very good at beating good, terrible teams, but they struggle and lose to teams with winning records. The Lions were upset, and then the 49ers do what the 49ers do. They just went into their ballpark and destroyed the Seahawks. If you missed the Egg Bowl last night, typical Egg Bowl, closer than most people thought. Mississippi State had zero offense at all. Feel horrible for Will Rogers, one of the all-time leading passers in the Southeastern Conference. And they just screwed the kid all year long running that offense they have. So Ole Miss wins 17-7, and they now I have my Ole Miss shirt on today in honor of my mom and dad. My dad who played at Ole Miss. And my daughter went to Mississippi State, so I was going to wear Mississippi State if they won today. Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melton Law, what would you do if you were Will Rogers 1 year of eligibility? He looks lost. I would not stay at Mississippi State. I don't know what he should do. He's got a shoulder injury. He's lost some arm strength, but he was going to be the all-time leading passer in the history of the conference, just probably within 2 or 3 games, if they'd stayed in the air raid. They made a huge mistake at Mississippi State changing that whole offense, and it's one of the worst offenses I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know where else to put it. It's terrible. But none of those coaches will be back. I don't know who they're going to hire, but I feel horrible for the kid. I feel horrible for all the wide receivers. Feel horrible for the running backs. Feel horrible for anybody that played offense at Mississippi State. Let's see here. Manuel asks, are we going to watch the Willis versus DeSoto game tonight? I don't even know what that means. It must be a high school game. But I will not be watching that. Perry Mason says, good morning. Thanks for doing your show. Hotty toddy. Yeah, there's some happy folks in Oxford and the surrounding areas. Ole Miss with the big win. But Ole Miss looked terrible on offense last night. Mississippi State had a good plan defensively. They struggled the whole game. As I said, we'll have JC hoping to get DJ Lagway plays for Willis. Well, good luck to DJ and his team, but no, I ain't going to be watching it. Got a lot of good high school games here in the state of Florida. Weather's terrible here. I don't know if it'll be raining tonight, but it's cold and raining. Some people will say that'd be football weather, but they're crazy as hell. It ain't football weather. All right. Text on the Titan MR text line. This is from the 1 area code. All defense episode. Devin Moore starting at corner, a big help as he's our best corner. Besides tackling better, what would your defense focus and game plan be Saturday? Hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. Thanks for the text. I think you mix up your coverages. I think we got to slow down the run game. Make Tate Rodemaker beat us throwing the football. He's a 4th-year guy, played a little bit here and there. We know they have some really good wideouts, but they got 2 good running backs. But the threat of the dynamic running from the quarterback position is out of there. So I think we're going to run the football on them pretty well. And I still think we're going to win the game. I thought that before anybody got hurt. Michael says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, FSU has faced 8 backup QBs this year. Is that true? Wow. I know they're undefeated and you got to give them credit because you got to win the games on your schedule. But they beat LSU at the beginning of the year. We all know LSU didn't play a great game, and they took some weird. Uh, they didn't take points when they should have taken points, and then they're very very fortunate on the sack fumble that basically won the game for them against Clemson, and they've struggled against some other people. Uh, and I mentioned last week there was somewhere I read we had like the fourth toughest schedule in America. They had like the 56th. So Mike says if Mullen goes back to state, the QB will stay. No, he's not a Dan Mullen quarterback. Not even close. Not even close. So uh, Perry says JC. No, JC's awake. He's out in Texas. He's trying to get situated. Uh, Richard says, don't forget the basketball team plays Baylor at 5 today. Yes, Baylor is a very good team. I'm not sure of the status of our big guy that went out with the ankle injury. I don't know if he's playing today or not. That's why I was going to try to get Chris Harry on. We've been texting and yesterday, and he may have overslept as well. But in the meantime, we got a lot of games today. JC and I will have our Peachland Dental picks here momentarily. There's actually an NFL game today for some reason. Makes absolutely no sense to me. The Jets and the Dolphins play this afternoon. Got a lot of college football today, college basketball as well. But yeah, the Gators played extremely well in basketball against Pitt the other night. And look for them to play good again tonight. A very, very good Baylor team. All right, let's see here. We got a couple of comments. Jerry Odom, some guy named Jerry Odom says, mix up coverages, blitz, and cover 2 trap blitz with a mix of man blitz and drop 8 on 3rd down. First down is huge to stop them on the run, put them behind the sticks, and hopefully Swamp is right. The Swamp will be rocking. I don't know if our guys are smart enough to do all that 2 trap and stuff there, Coach Odom. But I'm with you. I'm with you. We need to get Coach Odom on and talk some ball here soon. Mike says we need to limit their run game and make Tate beat us with his arm. I agree. Somebody texted me also about over the week, not the weekend, it seems like the weekend, the last couple of days about Tate Rodemaker's interview about how he played in front of like 14,000 people in high school. He's not worried about the Swamp. I don't know what the actual question was. I think it was taken out of context. The Swamp will be nuts Saturday night. It is sold out. So we'll see, but I like our chances a lot. Gator says Edgar asked Billy if he told Etienne to stay in bounds. Billy said Etienne knows to stay in bounds. He didn't say that he remind. Okay, how many times do I have to tell y'all he will never throw a player under the bus or a coach? Y'all should know that by now, the way he talks in his press conferences. I will just tell you for the 1000th time again, he was told on the sideline multiple times the kid made a mistake. It is what it is. But Billy's not going to sit there in the press conference and say, I told him to stay in bounds. That's just not who Billy Napier is. And that's a good thing. All right. Sorry for going off on a tangent, but it just irritates the hell out of me that people can't see that right now. Radware is a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service while providing quality and affordable promotional products and customized apparel. We're waiting on JC. He's late. He'd be fined severely if he was in the National Football League. 941 Low Life says, let's worry about keeping Trevor. Yeah, Trevor Etienne has an opportunity. I mean, just like any player we have. Everybody talks about this guy coming back, that guy coming back. There's no guarantee anybody comes back for any team in America these days because they can put themselves into the transfer portal and see how much they can get. So Perry Mesa said also one more time, nobody gets it. Also, we do not need an OC. I don't know if you're being sarcastic there, but that's my personal opinion. Again, we're averaging 33 or 34 points in SEC play, which is pretty damn good. And everybody wants to talk about the offense. JC, you're fined a lot of money. We'll take it out of your paycheck. That's what they do in the National Football League. Good morning. Does Alabama play today?
Alabama will be on the field tomorrow on the what I call the
JC,
lovely.
are you in a closet? Where are you at?
I'm in an upstairs room, trying to, segregate myself from all of the weary people here. Listen. Alabama will be on the prairie on the plains tomorrow, and I can't wait for that. But listen, I've had a heck of a good time in Dallas. Cowboys looked so good yesterday. When I saw them play defense, it did not remind me of what I've been watching in college football in Gainesville. And Washington.
Well, hang on a second. Hang on. You talking about the Cowboys defense?
Yeah, well, I thought they were pretty good.
Well, they're good, but JC, have you seen who they've beaten?
Well, QB, it's the freaking NFL. What are you going to do?
No, I agree, but I don't.
Somebody
Sent me a tweet the other day or yesterday, or maybe I saw it on Twitter. I don't think they've beaten a team with a winning record.
Half the NFL is crap. You heard Tom Brady on his podcast say the league is mediocre at best. He goes on and on about how lousy it is. There you are with your Ole Miss shirt on. Haven't picked them all damn year. Didn't pick them all year long, and there you are with your Ole Miss shirt on.
Get some of them Rebels, the 1964 Johnny Vault led Rebels.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful thing I just saw.
JC, if you want to see the inside, look at the inside of this helmet.
God.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Jackson Dart had this helmet on last night when he took that shot?
He'd still be on the field sleeping. Oh my God. Yeah, listen, that was I don't know how to phrase that game last night between the two Magnolia State institutions. It was you figure if everybody sat around and ate turkey all day and stuffing and gravy and mashed potatoes and then had to watch that game, they're still sleeping. I mean, that game put people in such a deep sleep if you don't have ties to Mississippi.
Well, here's the thing. It was a typical Egg Bowl for the most part. I said it before you came on. I feel terrible for Will Rogers and anybody that plays offense for Mississippi State because they screwed that entire team and those kids the beginning of the year.
They sure as hell did.
Ole Miss wasn't worth a damn on offense either, though.
QB, they had Steve Spurrier Jr. that could have stayed there and run the same damn offense that Mike Leach left them. And they had the players, they had everything they needed to do it. And this idiot who's no longer coaching them is now hoping that Lincoln Riley will hire him to be the defensive coordinator at USC. That's the best thing I could say about Zach Arnett right now.
Well, Zach Arnett and that entire staff is gone. So
God.
Now, Mississippi State does have a chance to play in a bowl game because of their APR. Yeah, they have a high APR.
5-7. They did beat Arizona. They beat Arizona.
It has nothing to do with APR is about your graduating rate or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know, but they could. Andy wants to know, were you entertained with Dolly Parton at halftime, JC?
No, that really did little for me. I walked outside. At Jerry World, you can walk outside, got some fresh air because I knew halftime was going to be extended. But they had Dolly up on the big screens. Jerry World is all about comfort. It's all about convenience. Texas Live yesterday was incredible. And look, the Cowboys held Washington at 10 points. Dallas, yeah, you're right. I looked at their schedule. They do beat up on these awful teams.
Yeah.
Next week they're going to beat up on Seattle. But guess what? In 2 weeks, Philadelphia comes. They have 3 straight home games, and Philadelphia Eagles will be there in 2 weeks. So we're going to find out because that division is still up in the air. I still think the Cowboys have a chance because the Eagles play Buffalo. The Eagles play the 49ers, who might, in my opinion, be the best team in the NFL. And then they play Dallas. So anything can happen still in that NFC East.
I thought Dolly was great, by the way.
Robert, look, she's a legend. She's a legend, QB. I mean, but that place is so big. All you saw was a little person with white hair running around down on the field.
She had on a cheerleading outfit, JC. Did you know that?
I watched it. It was on every big screen in Dallas, man. It was on every screen in Dallas. Yeah, sure was.
Robert says the Cowboys, this is YouTube, brought to you by Quadplum, haven't beaten one team with a winning record. They played 3 teams with a winning record, and they all lost, all 3.
Yeah, well, listen, I'll take Dallas next week, and I'll probably take them against the Eagles. So go ahead and bet against me, Rob.
Okay.
I think Dallas is – I don't think they're that – I think they're pretty good.
Yeah. Jerry says here, doesn't Spurrier like Max Brown? I mean, not that I'm aware of. I know he likes Micah Leon, the backup quarterback, because he's a pure thrower.
What's the tenor like? What's the feeling like over there? I mean, I've been gone.
I don't know. It's football weather outside, JC. It's 50 and raining. What do you think about that?
Well, the raining part does not surprise me. I mean, Rainsville. But
yeah, but it'll be done. It'll be done around 10, I think.
That's good. So it's going to be a great environment, I would guess. Great atmosphere. People are excited. This is still a chance to win 6 games, get the bowl game.
Yes, for sure. I like our chances.
Okay. Well, you've liked our chances since week 1. I mean, you've been saying Florida will play these.
Well,
guys.
I mean, if we had just, I mean, I'm not even going to go into it, but just 2 stupid ass plays, or we're 7-4.
Well,
that's simple.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Arkansas and then Missouri should have won both. I agree. QB, that would have changed a lot of people's thinking right now, but didn't happen.
Yeah, we got another text here. It says, I couldn't agree with you more that players know to stay in bounds and love that Billy doesn't throw his kids under the bus. Yeah, he will never throw a kid under the bus. JC wants to know, well, I'm not JC, but Andy was saying you would be lucky to be able to do what Dolly did at 77.
I think we all would be lucky to be upright at 77, QB.
Very true.
How about that? I mean, she's been now in Neyland Stadium and Jerry World the last 2 weeks. I mean, she is very involved in things. I think it's great. Good for her. They love her here. I mean, Texas, they love her here. So, yeah, I don't know about opening with Jolene. I mean, that's kind of a slow, sad song, opening up with Jolene when you got the fans in a fevered pitch and the cheerleaders are dancing all over the place in front of you, and you're going to open up with Jolene, Jolene, Jolene. I mean, really, it's a famous song, but she should have started the 9 to 5. She should have gone work into 9 to 5 to open up. I think they mixed that up. They should have. Anyway, I'm not the producer QB of the halftime show here, but the place was packed. 90,000 fans for an NFL game on Thanksgiving Day. These people are crazy. And then when the Mexican, in the fourth quarter, they honored their Mexican Latino population in the Dallas area, and the horns was blowing and everything, and the place, it went crazy. I mean, they've got quite a fan base, Dallas QB. Everywhere you go in the NFL, and you remember this because you played, and Dallas fans, whenever you play the Cowboys, they're everywhere. They're like the Steelers, they're like the Niners, they're like the Chiefs, they're like the Buffalo Bills. Those are the 5 fan bases.
I would still go with the Green Bay Packers.
Packers number 1. Packers number 1. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's part of the 5 fan bases that just blow my mind. Well, it doesn't matter where the game is, how far away. I mean, when San Francisco played in Jacksonville 2 weeks ago, half that damn place was red, and maybe all of it was red. I'm glad I didn't go, but hockey game was good too, by the way. I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Did they win the hockey game?
They lost in overtime, but it was very exciting. We were on the ice, and those dudes were playing fast, man. They play fast. It's incredible. Hockey is the only game that substitutes and doesn't call timeout to substitute, or there's no stoppage in play. They're skating on and off the ice, and things are happening. Dude. You got to keep up. It's incredible in person. If you don't see it live, you're missing something because TV can't really do it justice. It's like the Grand Canyon, If you see pictures of it, that's great, but you have to see it live. You have to be there live. Yeah, I got to do that. I'm lucky. Today today is my Thanksgiving QB. I get the tryptophan today. I'm all about tryptophan and watching football today, and then tomorrow's rivalry day. This is the one time of the year on the schedule. You look at the schedule and go, my God, it's rivalry weekend. I can't wait to get to that. And then when it comes, you're like, where the hell did the season go? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. But these games tomorrow, Ohio State, Michigan, you said something to me the other day about Mississippi and State really hating each other. The players don't really respect it. They really don't like each other. They don't care. I mean, there's poor Woody Marks laying on the sideline with a pulled hamstring, and not one Mississippi player. They just looked at him like he was like a dead bird on the street or a dead dog on the road, and he's over there and thriving in pain. And the Ole Miss coaches and players are just walking right around. They can't stand each other, man. So tomorrow,
I'm telling you, there's more hatred. There's more hatred in that rivalry, I think, than any that I know of. And it's not just the players and coaches; it's the freaking fans.
Yeah, well, you're going to see some of that tomorrow too. I think in games.
Yeah, it's not the same. I'm telling you, I've been to both for multiple times. It's not the same.
Yeah,
I mean, it's deep hatred.
Poor Woody Marks was he was like a dead armadillo on the sideline, and those players and coaches just walked around. It's so bad. And I don't know what Woody Marks was doing in there playing anyway with a hamstring. He just didn't want to come out, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a shame. I think that's the last time we'll have the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night. All the rivalry games will be the previous week, leading up to
and
Thanksgiving.
Tell me what made them make that decision. What was that about, QB?
Well, you got the 12-team playoffs, so the season's going to last a little longer. They're going to have to start a little earlier. It's not 100% confirmed, but it's like 90%, and it stinks because who cares? The season's long as it is. Why? I just think it's great for families, and it's just a great tradition to have the rivalry games that weekend.
Yeah, no, Thanksgiving weekend is rivalry weekend, man. I agree with you. You don't want to have them before Thanksgiving. I guess it's going to take some getting used to this new landscape. But, you have to talk about a 12-team playoff. There's 120 teams that don't play in the playoffs or something. And maybe some of those games won't be. I don't really know. I guess they can't really tell before the season who's going to be good and bad. But I think you're right. I think the Thanksgiving Day holiday is meant for rivalry weekend. Like, what are you going to do on Saturday next year when Ohio State and Michigan are not playing after your holiday? I'm kind of with you on this. I don't like it either.
I mean, maybe it's going to stink not having Ole Miss Mississippi State on Thanksgiving night.
Yeah, you're going to get two teams playing. You're going to get two teams in these conference championship games that will have a week off. Is that what you're saying? So we're going to have like Alabama.
No, so the championship games will be going on. This weekend.
Okay. So we will have. See, that should be the first day of December. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how we like it. These guys are going to do it at whatever anyway.
Yeah,
I got.
All right, JC. Let's do some picks. Let's do some Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's number one choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. What did I do yesterday? 3-1?
Well, while you were fighting me, I was writing these down. I should have done it last night, but you were yesterday, QB.
I think the only game I lost was the Lions, right?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
I forgot what
I know who you took. You took the Lions. You took the Redskins. You took the 49ers. You took Ole Miss.
Okay, so I went 2-2. So no, I didn't. Yeah, no,
you went 1-3.
No, Ole Miss was laying 10.
I thought it was 10.5.
Oh, was it?
I thought it was. Maybe not. Doesn't really matter.
Okay. So you're telling me I took the Detroit Lions over the Packers? I guess I did.
Oh, no. That was your only winner. You took the Packers.
I took Green Bay.
Or did you take the 40? It doesn't matter. Let's move on.
I know this. I took San Francisco, dude.
You're supposed to keep up with this, and you obviously didn't.
I didn't write it down. It's only 3 games. I had San Francisco QB. I think they're the best team in the NFL. I truly believe
they're so good. They're so freaking good.
They're a juggernaut. They don't care. It doesn't matter where the game is. They will blow your ass out. And if they're healthy, they got the goods, man. There's defensively, offensively, what's better? What's better now?
Rodney has a question before we jump into this on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law.
Okay,
he says,
Rodney.
Shane, do you think bringing back former players to coach at Florida could help the program get back to
Yes.
Well, let me say this. It has to be guys that have coached.
Well,
you can't just because there's a lot of players that play that can't coach a lick.
Yeah.
That don't understand schemes and all that stuff. But if there's people out there that have coached for a long time and had some success and are
what did all these players
coaches?
What did all these hold on a minute. What did all these coaches who are former players do before they got their first coaching job? You have to give somebody a chance, right? And I don't think
JC,
we've established that Florida is the training ground for coaches, apparently. So what's the problem?
Right, but my point is, like right here, Tim says, let Tebow call a series tomorrow. What's Tim going to call? Tim doesn't know their plays. Would Tim be a great coach? I don't know, but you don't let him coach at Florida when he's never coached. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Well, okay. I guess that's better than 5 and 6, huh? No,
I'm not going to argue that. I'm just saying that
Kerwin Bell,
Kerwin has been very successful.
I've said this. I'm
Troutwine has been a very successful O-line coach. But
you're telling
just
me
because
you don't think Travis McGriff would be a good wide receivers coach? I do.
I do. I mean, I know Travis, so he knows the game. But what I'm saying is some people think just because a guy played, he could just go in there and coach. That's not true. That's not a fact. That's not a fact
Okay,
at all.
but let's forget about that. Let's talk about some guys that can do it, that we know could. And there's plenty of them. You get players that are sitting around doing, I don't know, selling insurance. They should be out there telling us what the hell's going on and getting people
Well, Coach
up.
Odom, Jerry Odom's been doing it a long time. He'd be a great defensive coach.
Well, let's go then. How about, look, Ernie Mills? You're going to tell me Ernie Mills can't figure out how to tell these kids how to get open? Ernie Mills? How about that? You think they think Fred Taylor would do a good job of showing guys how to hit the gaps, A and B and C and D?
But here's the other thing that people don't realize.
Right. I know they would.
The other thing that people don't realize is a lot of guys don't want to coach because they know how hard it is and how much time it is.
Agreed.
Robert Gillespie, yes, he's at Alabama. He ain't leaving Alabama.
Right. I mean, there's another example. We got former Gators are everywhere. If John Cornell was your AD, which I should be, honestly.
You should be.
But nobody's called me yet, but I'm waiting for the call. The phone's right here. And
well, I never got drafted either, JC, so don't wait for that phone call.
Well, if they want better results, you give old JC a call. I'll get this thing going, man. I know exactly who I'd hire, and I'm not going to tell you right now because I'm going to wait till the season's over. But I've assembled a former Florida Gator coaching staff. Now, not all of them are former Florida Gators, but most of them are. That would coach.
Okay, but hang on a second. I want to play devil's advocate for a minute.
Oh boy!
When Florida won with Coach Spurrier's staff and an Urban staff, how many former Gators are on that staff?
This is a different situation right now, QB. You got to get.
I'm just saying.
No, listen. I hear you. But this situation today requires an identity crisis. We have an identity crisis here at UF, and people need to be afraid of UF right now. The University of Florida.
Well, you got to win games to do that.
No fear into anybody, and that's got to change. And I know
I don't know who's going to be hired, but I do. I feel very confident that he will make some changes on his staff, which need to be done.
Well, he's going to have to because pretty soon it might be him getting changed. So I don't want it. Well, I don't know if I want it now. I'm starting to think maybe I do want it. I just want wins, QB. I'm like you and everybody else. Nobody's any different. It's a job. It comes with results-driven requirements. Period. End of story. You got to get the ball in the end zone. You got to make smart plays, and you got to be able to tackle somebody. That's football. It's really not rocket science sending NASA up to Mars. It's just not, QB. I don't believe that. I think it can be done, and it needs to be because it hasn't in a while.
All right, let's get to our Peachland Dental picks.
Rodney, great question, though, by the way, Rodney. I appreciate that question because I've been harping on this for months, and QB just poo-poos me. He scoffs. Poo-poo. JC.
No. I'm all for it but what I'm saying is I've coached. I've been around the game my whole life. I'm a coach's son.
Yes.
And I know how hard it is. And I think that some people think just because let's use I just give me a player. Just because player X played at the University of Florida that doesn't mean he's going to translate and be a great coach.
Okay, that's a good point, but I still put my money on Ernie Mills and Jerry Odom to know what the hell's going on.
Well, they coach. Those are great examples, but those guys coached. Ernie coached with Kerwin at JU. Damn right. Jerry's been coaching for freaking ever, and he's a coach's son. So those are great examples. But
I am the son of a 48-year tenured professor at the University of Florida and a housewife. And I've got wisdom too, QB. And I'm telling you, I'm an academic, QB. I'm an academic, and I've thought this out. So look, academics aren't terrible people, but no, listen. Everybody goes, JC, what would you do? What would you do? So I'm just telling you, that's what I do. I change the culture here and get these guys that have been in the trenches to show us. I wouldn't do this, QB. I wouldn't I wouldn't go on my phone and go, let me see. I'm going to scroll down here and see who the hot name is this week. Let's try interviewing this guy, this guy, and this guy. Get them on the phone, get their agents going, let's fly down.
Well, here's the thing. Billy Napier was the hottest coach in America, okay? It's not like we just went and hired somebody. Everybody wanted him. All right, let's do our picks. We're beating a dead horse here.
Okay. Everybody wanted the guy from Louisiana.
We're beating that dead armadillo you were talking about.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. All right. But Rodney brings up a good question. I appreciate that, Rodney. Let's start off with a border war in the SEC, QB. The team you saw last week is rolling on down to Fayetteville. It's going to be really chilly, but it's okay. They can handle it from Missouri, and they're laying 9 to Arkansas. The Tigers and the Razorbacks.
I think Missouri wears them out. I think Missouri's that good of a football team.
I'm gonna agree. I think the same thing. I've been impressed. Eli will be the SEC Coach of the Year. There's no doubt about that. But Arkansas, I think, will play them tough. That's a lot of points. All right, this is a game local, closest to me here. And you've got the guns up. You know, that's how they do it in Lubbock. Guns up like this, like this, like this. And the Red Raiders, who are in Lubbock, which is in the middle of absolutely nowhere in a huge state, come into Austin, which is where Florida will play next year. And the Texas Tech Red Raiders are catching 13.5 against the Longhorns, who are missing.
I'll take Texas Tech at home.
I will too.
I'm gonna respond to Iceman on YouTube. Talks about Clay Plum, and he says Shane loves talking like he knows more than everyone else. I will tell you this, Iceman. I don't know a whole lot, but I promise you I know more football than you do, buddy. Whoever you are.
Good Lord. What if
Iceman would you wager on that, JC? I'm just asking.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have been around.
It's like I don't know what Iceman does for a living, but I guarantee he knows more of that than I do. But so it's not being cocky, arrogant. It's we talk facts on this show. The facts are I do know football, my man. There.
Okay.
Well,
by the way, that game is in Austin. It's not in Lubbock. I'm sorry. You still want Tech plus 15?
No, I'll take the Red Raiders.
Okay, I got them too. That's a lot of points. Okay, I got a bonus pick on this play, Mister. I know football.
Yeah,
Iowa plus 3. How about that? This is amazing. The Big Ten West champions are catching points from the Cornhuskers of Nebraska, and the bonus pick, QB, you must say the total is. Are you ready for the total on this game?
Oh, I saw it. It's like 24.
24.5. So that cracks me up. I'm going to take Iowa, the Big Ten West champion.
I'm going to take Iowa to win the game like 6-3
outright. So you're going under, and I'm going 24.5. I don't care. I'm going to try. I'm going to take the over just to see if something shocking happens. Maybe a punt return. Wow, the Civil War is going away too, QB, and that's a tragedy in Pac-12 football. The Beavers are catching 2 touchdowns against my Ducks. My Ducks.
I like the Beavers in the upset. Win outright.
How about this? The Ducks. You talk about somebody that hasn't played anyone. Man, look at that Oregon schedule. It is weak.
I know. That's why I like the Beavers.
All right, I'm going to take the Ducks in the Civil War. I'm going to lay the 14. I like the Beavers too. No, I can't do that. I have to take the Beavers. I'm sorry, QB. You're right. 14.
Let me respond to Iceman. He says 8-3. Remember, that's a prediction, Iceman. That has nothing to do with facts. Okay, go ahead.
He is on you there, Professor Shane.
That's okay. I don't care whatever he does better than I do. But I can promise you, I would love to sit down with him and see if he knows how to draw up a I formation.
Oh God! If only the world could have seen.
So hang on a second, Jason. We got to get through this. We got to get to Chris Harry. But Tim keeps talking about calling plays. Let Albert and Alberta call plays. Let Mr. Tim. Offense ain't our problem, buddy. Offense ain't our problem. What game are you watching? All right, go, JC.
I'll go real fast. A&M plus 11.5 against LSU.
I think A&M covers the spread.
I'll take A&M too. Vandy plus 17 Tennessee.
I take Tennessee. They're not very good, but
all right. Real quick, Georgia minus 24 Georgia Tech.
Georgia will cover it.
Wow, that's a lot. Alabama 13 Auburn.
That is blowout city.
Blowout city. Ohio State plus 3.5 Michigan.
I'll take the Buckeyes just for the hell of it.
And me too. And finally, Clemson is laying 7.5 against South Carolina. I'm taking South Carolina.
I'll take the beloved Tigers.
All right, you guys. Hey, Gators, big basketball game. Great win the other night.
Well, we're trying to get to Chris Harry to talk about it.
All right. Okay. Adios, amigos.
Go get a jog in out in the cold weather. That's JC joining us on the Titan More Hotline. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll be joined by Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com from New York. Talking Gators and the Baylor Bears today. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
The Kiara Grace Foundation proudly presents An Evening with Tim Tebow, Thursday, November 30th at the Touchdown Terrace at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Experience a once-in-a-lifetime VIP meet and greet with Tim. Hear his heartfelt stories and his unyielding dedication to the most vulnerable. With your support, we can extend the reach of the Kiara Grace Foundation to save precious lives in Latin America. Get your ticket before they sell out. Don't miss your chance to meet Tim Tebow, be inspired, and make a tangible difference.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Silverback Concrete's a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, we stand by it. Going to head to the Titan MRI hotline now. We're going to head up to New York City to FloridaGator.com senior writer Chris Harry, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Chris, good morning. Appreciate you joining us. You're back from shoot-around, correct?
No, shoot-arounds to come. Yes.
Oh, I missed. Okay.
Happy belated Thanksgiving and happy Black Friday, Shane.
Is that why you got your black vest on?
Got the black on. Got the black.
Are you going shopping today
stuff
down in New York? Buy your wife something good on sale?
Well, she's here. If she wants to go, she's more than welcome, but got to bring it back somehow.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk. Boy, what a performance the other night by the Gators. Just a fun team to watch. First of all, the big center that was injured, ankle injury, I believe. Is he playing today?
Micah Handlockton is questionable for the game. That'll be a game time decision. Didn't go yesterday, so we'll see. We'll see what happens today.
But it's nothing real serious, right? It's just an ankle.
It's an ankle. Yeah, it's an ankle.
Yeah.
And again, those things can be temperamental, especially for some guys 7-1. Baylor's a very physical team. That become one of those. I don't want to say fake blue bloods, but the blue bloods kind of the last few years. Incredible. I mean, I think they're 109 and 12 or something like that the last 5 years. 109 and 18 or some kind of record like that. Just Scott Drew's done a fabulous job there. They got a winning percentage of like 820 during that time, like 2021 national championship. People may remember they came to Gainesville in 2020, and they were number one team in the country and waxed Florida pretty good that year in the ill-fated COVID year. But they're another one. They're maybe one of the best offensive teams in the country, and their best player is the best offensive player Florida will have faced to date so far.
John has a question here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law. This looks like a different team with Pullen at the point and Walter playing off the ball. Do you think Pullen will start eventually or keep coming off the bench?
If I had to guess, I think eventually he will start. It also make it like the other night they had a slow start. Now, Micah Handlockton's injury had something to do with that. It was 49 seconds, I think, into the game. But I do think Zion will eventually start kind of I mean, the other night they had 24 assists and 8 turnovers. That's an amazing ratio. In the 2 games since Zion has been gained his eligibility, they got 41 assists. A good number, excuse me, is 14 to 15. Outstanding number would be 16, 17. They've averaged 20 and a half the last 2 games. I don't know if that's sustainable as we go on, but Pitt's a very good team. I think they're going to get a lot better. They have a point guard, a true freshman point guard, who went up against some experience the other night and kind of had to stomp back at him a little bit. But I think that's a good team. That was the best non-conference win since Todd Golden's been here. They have an opportunity for another one today. But to that gentleman's point, Zion Pullen has been really, really good, and the Gators are only going to get better the more they play with him.
Yeah, I agree. Watching the game, and that was the first time I actually got to watch this because, as I mentioned, the other times we played, I've been on the road speaking engagements. But the big kid from Australia, the freshman,
Alex Condon, yes.
Okay, so the announcers were talking about he turned down a pro contract to play Australian rules football to come play basketball for us.
His dad was like an all-star Australian rules football player down there. He was an Australian rules football player for his whole time growing up. He only started playing basketball when he got that growth spurt a few years ago. So I think he's maybe 3 or 4 years into playing. But yeah, I mean, he played at in the same Australian kind of league that he grew up in. It's academy now. It's escaping my head, of course, right now. But it's the same one that Josh Giddey played in from the Oklahoma City Thunder, if anyone's seen that guy play. But this guy's wound a little bit differently because of that Australian rules football background. He's not going to back down from anybody. He's very tough. I told a quarterback club a couple of weeks ago that I spoke to that I think he's the best center prospect the Gators have had since Joakim Noah because of the different things that he can do. He's actually a true center. He does something that Joakim couldn't do. He can shoot threes. I think he's made 4 this season already. But his willingness to play with a passion, not back down. He had a bad game against UVA and turned around the next week against the next high major opponent. They played Florida State and had an excellent game. I don't know if he also got a technical foul for talking smack. That's the kind of guy he is. I think he's going to be the kind of guy who opponents are going to hate going against, and that opposing teams' fans are going to love cheering against when he goes into an arena. And those are good things when you have guys like that.
No doubt. I was just shocked at his size being able to play Australian rules football. Andy wants to know here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. He says he loves your work. If the Gators beat Baylor, do you think they deserve to be in the mix as a top 3 or 4 team in the Southeastern Conference? Long season.
I just think right now that Ken Palm Analytics has the SEC as the number 2 team in the country, or excuse me, number 2 conference in the country. So I would reserve judgment on that a little bit. Florida turns around next week and plays a road game at Wake Forest in the SEC ACC Challenge. They got a road game. I know a neutral site game against East Carolina. Let's let the non-conference kind of play out a little bit. They're going to end up playing Michigan in a couple weeks in Charlotte. I just know that last year the way Florida played against a very difficult non-conference schedule, they went into the SEC season kind of wounded confidence-wise. I think they were 7-5. You get good chances to get good future resume-building games in these non-conference schedule. And you need to take advantage of those by beating some good teams. They had a great chance to beat Virginia. I think if Zion Pullen's playing, they do beat Virginia. But beating FSU the way they did, beating Pitt the other night, this is another golden opportunity. There'll be others down the line before we start talking about. Let's see where the SEC is in a couple weeks before we start trying to place the Gators somewhere.
Yeah, John says
I can understand the enthusiasm though.
Yeah, it's better than the alternative.
That's right.
John says, Chris, is this the best combination of bigs we've had since the 04s?
Best combination of bigs since we had against the 04s. I like the 2017 bigs. People don't remember how good elite defensively John Igbunu was, and he was in there with Justin Leon, and he was in there with Kavarius Hayes. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, who's been really good is Tyree Samuel. We haven't mentioned him yet. He's the Seton Hall transfer.
Mhm.
The other night, Todd Golden was talking about how he yelled at him because he missed 4 straight free throws in the game in the second half the other day when they're trying to distance themselves, build a bigger lead. And he yelled at him, and then he's looking at the box score after. He goes, God, he had 20 and 10, 3 blocks, 3 assists, 3 steals, and no turnovers. He goes, why am I yelling at the guy? So, but I don't know. He had a play. I don't know if you saw it. Remember it. He grabbed a rebound and put it down, and no one got in front of him. He just took it the length of the court and threw it down on the other side. He's underrated in that way. If you talk about Samuel, if you're talking about Condon, we haven't mentioned Tommy Hawk yet. I mean, he's the 6'9" freshman kid who had 10 rebounds against FSU. Now you got to get Micah Hanlogton back, and then maybe we can have that conversation that this gentleman just asked about. But let's get Micah back in the mix, and they need those 4 bigs. They're going to be at something of a disadvantage over the course of the season because of the surprise exit from E.J. Jarvis. He was the very first transfer they signed last spring. He was an all-league player from Yale, and he was going to play a lot. And now they're behind in terms of depth on the big position. They only got 4, and Tommy Hawk is more of a wing, but he certainly mixes it up on the glass. He's got 15 rebounds the last 2 games. But to the question we just had, I'm leaning in that direction right now. But you got to get the 7-1 guy back.
Yeah. Question here on the Titan More text line from George. He says, Chris, how did you guys spend your Thanksgiving yesterday?
Okay, so they had practice, right? I'm here with my wife and daughter. We took a walk. The Brooklyn Bridge, you can walk over that thing, and it's really pretty. You look out down into Manhattan. We went to the Freedom Tower. You can walk to the Freedom Tower. You can see the Statue of Liberty off in the distance, but there's a park down below the bridge. We went down there, but this is a trip that most of the families from the players and support staff were either on from Gainesville or joined us here. So yesterday at about 5:30, they had a big Thanksgiving dinner down in a ballroom for all the players and their families and the sports staff and their families. And all 4 teams in this tournament are here. So I imagine all the other teams, Baylor, Oregon State, and Pitt, did the same thing with their traveling crews. It was fun.
Very cool.
It was a good time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another text here on the Titan More text
Shane,
line
I need to know. I don't know who won the Egg Bowl.
Mississippi State.
I know
Ole Miss.
I know this is a near and dear game to your heart.
So it is. That's why.
Was it a shootout? Was it a shootout? Was Mississippi State chucking it all over the place? And
no, you must have saw my tweet. I
won?
tell you what.
Who won?
I feel horrible. Ole Miss won 17-7. It was not a great game. Mississippi State couldn't hardly move the football because their offense. They just wasted that poor kid, who's going to be the all-time leading passer. But that's for another show.
Okay.
But Ole Miss, because I got ties to both schools, so I got my Ole Miss shirt on today for the Rebels. And you missed it. I got my dad's helmet here. Check this helmet out.
That's your dad's Ole Miss helmet?
Yeah, look at that. Look at the inside of it.
Look at that inside. Yeah, that's great. He was number 26.
Number 26, awful number, but that was his number. So Chris, we got a text on the
I was number 27.
Okay,
that's a good number.
Yeah, Titan MR text line. Jack wants to know, did you get to speak to Rick Pitino, and was it cool to see him there watching the Gators?
Yeah, it was really cool to see. I did not get to speak to him. He had a nice, obviously, seat right across from the Pitt bench. But I don't know if anyone read the story I wrote. I didn't finish until 3 a.m. the other night because we got back so late. But there's Walter Clayton just putting on a show for his former player. And I asked Walter after if he had any exchange during the game with Pitino because he had such a great seat right there, like the free throw line extended there. And he said he walked past him once, and Pitino looked at him and goes, "You still can't play defense." So the guy was scoring 28 points, hitting 6 threes. Pitino's talking, "You still can't play defense." So, Todd Golden mentioned after the thing that he thought that was a nice gesture by Pitino because Pitino hit him badly to be playing to be playing for him at St. John's.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Why didn't he go to St. John's?
Well, he's from Lake Wales, Florida, as we've talked about on the show, I think. And he was one of the highest. He's going to be one of the highest recruited safeties in the country. He could have gone to any power conference team anywhere to play football, but he didn't like football as much as he liked basketball, and he got recruited by virtually no one in basketball, even though he won back-to-back state championships at Bartow. That's a Class 7A state title. So, I mean, UCF's an hour away, USF's an hour away. He didn't get recruited by either one. And his only Florida offer was from Jacksonville, I think. So he goes to Iona. Patino saw him on a virtual workout during COVID. He looks at him and he goes, he looks okay, we'll take him. And they ended up taking him. And he was the player of the year in that league last year. But he wanted to come back to Florida. Patino obviously left Iona to go to St. John's. He's not crazy about New York City. So he wanted to come back to Florida. He would not have come back to Florida if Mike White had still been the coach. He wasn't going to go to any Florida school that didn't recruit him. But Todd Golden got another bite at the Walter Clayton apple, Big Apple, I guess you could say, because he didn't penalize him because he didn't not recruit him the first time around. So that's a big get for the Gators, and you saw dividends the other night, and it'll be a cool matchup. The guy is so active on the floor; he does a little bit of everything, and now off the ball, he's just much better than he was when he had to play point guard against Virginia. Not that he can't; he can in circumstances because of the way he can handle the ball and attack. But Walter Clayton is gonna be a godsend this season. Already has been.
Should be a fun game this afternoon against the Baylor. It's the first game, right?
Second.
Oh, okay. So it may not start on time.
They did pretty good the other night, so I can't really complain.
Well, you don't know if it's going to go into overtime.
Oregon State's so bad. I just don't see them taking Pitt to overtime. So.
All right. Did you watch your Redskins yesterday?
You know what? I really didn't. They were on over the screen in a bar. I think I saw a pick six. That's about it. I've seen those pick sixes before.
That pick six, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up. You know, that kid that had it, he set a record.
I saw that. Was it 6-1?
Fifth or sixth, but that's unbelievable. They've only played like 11 or 12 games.
Is that not this year? Is that
just this year?
Career? Oh my God.
This year.
Good grief. That's ill.
And he's the guy that wasn't even a starting corner. Remember the Diggs, but the other Diggs kid that played at Alabama.
Yeah, he out for the season.
Yeah,
he had like 12 interceptions last year.
Yeah, this guy replaced him, and he's got 5 or 6 pick sixes, which is an NFL record. So it's crazy. But I do like Sam Howell. He's a good quarterback.
I guess they're cleaning house up there with a Thursday game, no game this weekend. Next week, I wouldn't be surprised if. I don't wish that on Eric Bieniemy, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's the interim head coach in the next 24 to 48 hours.
So that guy, John, just put up here on Facebook Live. John says Deron Bland or Deron Bland has more TDs than any Chiefs wide receiver this year. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right, Chris, appreciate your time, my man. Have a good day. Let everybody know if they can follow you, if they can't watch it on TV, but you're always giving updates on Twitter how they can follow you.
Yeah, at Gators Chris, you can follow me on Twitter. And Shane, I can send you my address if you want to get me those gift cards.
You got it, my man. Are you going to be in the press box Saturday?
I will be there for the football game.
You want?
I think Florida has a chance, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I really do. So I'll see you there. We'll make an exchange in the press box.
Beautiful.
All right. Have a good day, Chris. Right. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on. Watch the game today, Shane. We'll talk about it tomorrow. See you.
Absolutely. That's Chris Harry. Join us on the Titan tomorrow hotline. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Let's do This Day in Sports before we get out of here. It's brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. On this day in 1964 and 1970, the Heisman trophies went to John Warte, quarterback of Notre Dame, and Jim Plunkett, quarterback of the Stanford Cardinal. That's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Want to thank JC and Chris Harry for joining us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. We will recap the game against the Semis on Monday. Let's hope for a victory. I got a good feeling. And we'll see you then, folks. Take care.